it becomes more fascinating. Strangely, every time I play, I'm satisfied. Welcome back to Legends Rewind. Keith Richards seems like a live rock and roll legend. The focus on a great guitarist hides a tumultuous, rebellious, and intensely emotional life. Keith Richards has lived for music, from I Can't Get No Satisfaction's immortal riffs to his colorful lifestyle that made him a media magnet. How did a young Dartford man overcome personal turmoil, legal issues, and rumors to become a world music legend? What makes Keith Richards a symbol of resilience and passion as well as an artist? Let's examine highs and lows, pioneering achievements, and Keith Richards' hidden gems. A legend who broke all barriers to leave a legacy. Early life. Keith Richards was born in Dartford, Kent, England, on December 18, 1943, to a working-class music-loving family. Richards was influenced by his grandfather, Theodore Augustus Dupree, from childhood. His grandfather, a jazz guitarist in a big band, saw Richards' promise and gave him his first guitar, sparking his love of music. He taught Richards how to play and encouraged him to explore emotions and melodies, which would ultimately characterize his musical approach. Richards' upbringing was filled with music and life-changing events. Richards met Mick Jagger, a primary school classmate, at Dartford Railway Station in 1961. Jagger carried Muddy Waters and Chuck Berry recordings, which they both liked. In 1962, the Rolling Stones were formed. After this meeting began an exciting musical partnership. Attended Sidcup Art College, where he explored art, but music won him over. Richard practiced guitar, played music with friends, and explored blues and rock and roll instead of studying. Soon, he dropped out of college to focus on music, changing his life completely. Muddy Waters, Chuck Berry, and American blues shaped Richards' guitar style. His unique open G tuning approach and ability to blend rhythm and melody influenced the Rolling Stones sound and left a lasting mark on rock music. Besides talent, Richards' musical path is a story of determination and passion. From his childhood fascination with guitars to his work with Mick Jagger that made the Rolling Stones a global legend, Richards has shown that music is more than a career. Early work. Keith Richards' early years were difficult but groundbreaking, laying the groundwork for one of the finest bands ever. After meeting Mick Jagger in 1961, he, Brian Jones, Charlie Watts, and Bill Wyman founded the Rolling Stones in 1962. The band immediately became famous for their unusual rock and roll blues sound, which stood out among Britain's mainstream music boom. The Rolling Stones' first hit was Come On, a Chuck Berry cover, in 1963. Their career took off in 1965 with the smash I Can't Get No Satisfaction. This song launched the band internationally and displayed Keith Richards' songwriting and guitar skills. The song's groundbreaking open G tuning riff became Richards' hallmark and ushered in a new era for rock music. Paint It Black, Jumpin' Jack Flash, and Sympathy for the Devil were among Richards and the Rolling Stones' chart-topping songs. The band established their culture by embodying defiance and fierce uniqueness. Representing the younger generation, they broke social norms and expanded music. Richards and the band struggled despite their popularity. The glamorous yet dangerous rock and roll lifestyle had its dangers. Substance usage concerns plagued Richards, including the 1967 raid at his Redlands home. These scandals did not overshadow his talent. Instead, they bolstered his reputation as a life-loving artist. And faced challenges. Richards and the Rolling Stones refined rock and roll by mixing blues' soulful depth with rock's electric intensity. Their music and unashamed rock and roll lifestyle left an indelible mark on music. Keith Richards' early career shows his tenacity, originality, and love of music. He and the Rolling Stones rose from humble beginnings to become music legends and global cultural icons. A successful solo career, yet Keith Richards is primarily known as Rolling Stones' lead guitarist. His solo work showcases his musical versatility. Richards released his first solo album, Talk Is Cheap, in 1988 after Mick Jagger left the band to pursue personal projects. The raw, real, and unrefined sound of the record reflected Richards' unique approach. He established Spensive Winos with drummer and co-producer Steve Jordan, guitarist Waddy Wachtel, keyboardist Ivan Neville, and bassist Charlie Drayton to record this album. This ensemble was a cornerstone of Richards' solo career and gave him a sound separate from the Rolling Stones. One of the best Rolling Stones solo albums, Talk Is Cheap, was critically acclaimed. Richards' blues rock approach shined on Take It So Hard and Make No Mistake. He proved he could succeed in music independently with this record. Richards released his second solo album, Main Offender, 1992, for years later. This profoundly personal and wonderfully styled CD explored his love of blues and rock. Songs like Wicked as It Seems and Eileen showcased Richards' songwriting and guitar talents. Main Offender did not sell as much as Talk is Cheap, but it confirmed Richards' brilliance as a solo artist who stretched artistic boundaries. Unlike the Rolling Stones' massive concerts, his intimate live performances with pricey winos were real. After 2 decades with the Rolling Stones and other ventures, Richards released his third solo album, Cross-Eyed Heart, in 2015. This eclectic CD mixed reggae, country, blues, and rock. Trouble and Illusion, a Norah Jones collaboration, showed Richards' originality and versatility. Cross-Eyed Heart was well received, showing Richards' passion for music in his 70s. Richards' performances with pricey winos during this time increased his connection with his audience, creating an emotional and personal concert atmosphere. Richards influenced other industries outside music. In Pirates of the Caribbean, he played Captain Teague, Jack Sparrow's father, bringing his iconic look to the screen. After At World's End, 2007, he repeated the role in On Stranger Tides, 2011. This role won over filmgoers and made him a cultural hero. Life, Richards' autobiography, was truthful and riveting about his turbulent journey. The book covered his childhood, early career, addiction, and Rolling Stones accomplishments. Life was one of the best-selling music autobiographies of all time and praised for its honesty and wit. Richards' free-spirited rock and bohemian style has inspired generations. His creative headscarves, necklaces, and clothes have inspired global fashion trends despite his non-designer status. Keith Richards has established himself as an independent, brilliant, and innovative musician, despite his solo career not reaching the commercial heights of the Rolling Stones. He has expanded his musical legacy and explored other artistic areas. Richards' solo career shows his ingenuity and passion to innovate. Personal endeavors have deepened his global musical legacy, influencing music and popular culture. Richards has shown throughout his life that music is more than a job. Keith Richards, Rolling Stones guitarist and powerful solo performer, has won many important honors that confirm his music-changing impact. Let's examine some of his most notable awards for his lasting impact on rock and roll. In 1989, Keith Richards was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for his Rolling Stones accomplishments. The band won the Grammy for Best Rock Album with Voodoo Lounge in 1995 and Best Traditional Blues Album with Blue and Lonesome in 2018, demonstrating their blues roots and creative diversity. The band got the 1986 Lifetime Achievement Award. Keith Richards received a Grammy nomination for Best Male Rock Vocal Performance as a solo artist. He and Mick Jagger won the 2005 Ivor Novello Award for Outstanding Song Collection for their prolific songwriting. With Start Me Up, Richards won the Enemy Award for Best Riff, cementing his guitar icon status. These awards recognize Keith Richards' exceptional talent and influence as a member of one of the most successful rock bands and as a solo artist. These honors inspire generations of musicians and music fans worldwide. Personal life. Keith Richards, the rock and roll legend, has a turbulent personal life. According to him, the stage is where I breathe, but life is where I fight. These words accurately reflect Richards' immersion in every aspect of his life, from love and family to public crises. Richards and Italian actress Anita Pallenberg had a passionate romance in 1967. The pair became famous in the arts for their rock and roll lifestyle. The couple had 3 kids. Marlon Leon's son Deep, named after Marlon Brando, Angela, originally Dandelion, and Tara JoJo Gunny, who died at 2 months old from SIDS. Richards was forever scarred by Tara's death. Richards was criticized for performing the night he received the tragic news, but he said playing music was the only way he could cope with his anguish. However, his relationship with Pallenberg was both joyful and turbulent. Pallenberg was dating Richards' bandmate Brian Jones before dating Richards. This change in relationship generated band stress. Despite this, Richards and Pallenberg dated for over a decade until 1979. That year, Richards met Patty Hansen, who changed his life. The famous supermodel Patty gave Richards a newfound tranquility. On Richards' 40th birthday, December 18, 1983, they married. Theodora and Alexandra were Richards' kids with Hansen. Patty was his life companion and a source of stability, guiding him through his toughest times and balancing family and music. The notorious drug controversies are unavoidable when discussing Keith Richards' life. Richards, the ultimate rock and roll renegade, was surrounded by substance abuse stories throughout his career and life. Drugs were part of the lifestyle and Richards' biggest issue, resulting in legal violations, public criticism, and life-threatening scenarios. Richards' drug-related infamy began in 1967 when authorities raided his Redlands home. Cannabis and other illicit drugs got Richards and Mick Jagger detained. Richards and Jagger rejected the claims, but the case garnered global attention, making them youth icons of defiance. Richards' year-long prison sentence was reversed on appeal after widespread outcry and protests from important personalities. Richards' legal win and refusal to submit to social pressure were announced. However, Richards' difficulties continued. He became more addicted to heroin in the late 1960s and 1970s. Rock and roll was symbolized by Richards' gaunt face and flaming eyes holding a guitar. Behind the scenes, his addiction tortured him for nights. Richards admitted that heroin helped him cope with fame and life, but addiction nearly ruined him. Richards was arrested in Toronto in 1977 for possessing a substantial amount of heroin. This time, he feared years in prison, which could have terminated his career and life. Richards pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 2 charity concerts and rehabilitation. He performed the concerts in Toronto in 1979, which relieved his legal issues and started his recovery from addiction. The road to sobriety was difficult. Richards had many failed rehabilitation attempts before conquering heroin addiction in the early 1980s. He later realized stopping was about regaining control, not quitting drugs. His years of addiction devastated his family and friends, but Richards was grateful for the chance to make amends. Richards battled heroin and cocaine addiction in the 1970s and 1980s. He said cocaine made him more aware on stage, but put him in danger. He survived a 1976 Fiji automobile wreck that hit a palm tree, one of his most dramatic moments. After major injuries, Richards resumed touring, cementing his indestructibility. After scandals and drugs ruined his career, Richards never gave up. He now uses cannabis and alcohol occasionally after quitting most hard substances. He considers stopping smoking in 2021 a major accomplishment, showing his progress and self-care at 80. Richards' relationship with Mick Jagger, his friend and sometimes rival, is also important. People say their relationship is love-hate for decades. Both admit that their conflict stimulates their creativity and keeps the Rolling Stones alive. Richards added, "Jagger has flaws, but who doesn't? Understanding each other is enough to move forward." Keith Richards, despite his ups and downs, is a music legend and a resilient man. From devastating losses and media-shaking scandals to deep love for his family and music, has converted every sorrow into a persistent determination. Each note of his complex life paints a vivid picture of a man who overcame all obstacles to become an everlasting legend. Current life and legacy at 80, Keith Richards is still a music and lifestyle superstar. After decades of extreme highs and lows, he now has a more balanced life without losing his creative energy or drive. Richards remains a pop cultural star by focusing on music, family, and personal initiatives. The Rolling Stones' first new album in nearly 2 decades, Hackney Diamonds, was lauded by critics and fans. The album's milestone showed that the band's originality and talent haven't faded with age. The Rolling Stones and Richards are planning a global album promotion tour in 2024, introducing new fans to their music and cementing its legacy. Richards and his wife, Patty Hansen, celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary, a feat in rock and roll's turbulent world. The couple moved to Connecticut, where Richards spends much of his time with his daughters, Theodora and Alexandra, and grandchildren, enjoying the peace. Richards says playing guitar daily keeps him grounded and fuels his music enthusiasm. Richards promotes own initiatives outside of the band. His solo album Main Offender was released in 2022 as a deluxe box set, including unprecedented live recordings and unique artifacts. Besides gifting his followers, this effort showed his love and dedication to his artistic legacy. Keith Richards' legacy includes classics like I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Jumpin' Jack Flash, and Start Me Up, and his tremendous impact on music and popular culture. His open G-tuning guitar method revolutionized rock guitar. Richards' riffs influenced the Rolling Stones and many other bands, from Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses to younger bands. Richards' influence goes beyond music. He wrote Life, a truthful account of his life's highs, hardships, and accomplishments, and played Captain Teague in Pirates of the Caribbean. Both have received critical and fan acclaim. These accomplishments solidify his reputation as a multifaceted musician who transcends rock guitar. Keith Richards is resilient and inventive. From his wild childhood and addiction to his stable, meaningful life, he has conquered every challenge to create value. Indomitable spirit is Richards' legacy, along with music and culture. He shows us via every chord and anecdote that rock and roll lives on in him and in fans worldwide.